This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
The end of the season brings with it a chance to relax, a chance to unwind. And what better way to do that than to let loose some dirt late modifieds on the I-55 Speedway. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second annual Senneker Steel Shootout. My name is DJ Clark, joined here in the commentary booth by Austin Belkey, with our director and producer Mike Yao behind the scenes. And Austin, this is a little bit of a change from normal here, from our normal calling of the dirt street stocks. A little bit more horsepower, a little bit of downforce even. But how are these late models going to take to the track?
Hey DJ, happy to be here. I-55 is, it's a bull ring in and of itself. You get these these dirt late models here, like you mentioned, they have more horsepower. More importantly, they have downforce. The regular dirt street stocks, they make a bit of downforce over the car, but these things, they have a ginormous front splitter, an actual splitter. They have a big old rear wing. If you slap the car on the wall, you're going to lose some downforce. I've talked to a lot of the drivers up and down the garage area here today. They all say it's really slick when you get out there. The car is very ill handling. We'll have to see how it plays out, but these guys are whipping around the track pretty easily right now.
Yeah, they are. We've been keeping our eyes, and it looks like they're able to keep everything here together and keep it all relatively well. A couple of cars out on track right now, including Justin Morton making a return back into the series. John Hine, our sometimes commentator up in the booth, also taking down to the track. We'll be chatting with him a little bit later, as well as some staples here in the series. Brandon Proudfoot, John Wilson, Kenny Kibbe making a comeback as well. Billy Northcutt, William Hargraves, and J.R. Shepard. So a virtual who's who of the Bootleg Racing League coming out to play here today, and we're going to be running the same format that we do pretty much all the time here, Austin. It's going to be a heat racing format. Drivers headed out on track. They're going to have to qualify for the event. The heats will be 6 laps. The top 2 will automatically transfer. Then we go into the consolation races, 8 laps apiece, a 5-minute warm-up, and then the top 18 cars, they'll be in for a 50-lap feature. And with 21 entries, that means at least 3 drivers are headed on home early.
Yeah, it's official, DJ. We've got some go or go homers, so you're really going to have to get out there. You have to make every opportunity to get yourself into the transfer spots to make sure you can advance to the 40-lap feature event here tonight. You do definitely not want to be one of the drivers that has to sit up here in the stands with us and just watch the race.
No, you do not, although I will say we do have some pretty good seats for watching these cars roar their way around I-55. And with that, let's actually go ahead and get a little bit of a chat going with one of the drivers out there right now. John, looks like Brandon Proudfoot ready to join us here in the booth. And Brandon, it's a little bit of a change from the normal dirt street stock, so talk to me a little bit about the driving distance differences between these cars.
It's definitely different compared to what we're normally used to seeing here in the dirt street stocks. These things have a lot more power. They have it's not a metric suspension. We actually have a suspension that moves along with the car. There's the J-bar, as well as your axle lead in the rear, as well as the chassis J-bar that allows that rear axle to shimmy around. So whenever these cars get to the corner, you're going to see that left rear tire possibly hike up in towards the chassis, and that's actually going to make it where that rear end is going to want to move around with the car throughout the corner, kind of similarly to how a monster truck would with their 4-wheel steering, except the steering's only on the front, but the axle will shimmy along, so it makes it to where if the car is not predictable, which whenever it gets to the condition that we're on now, it can make it to where that rear end will kind of do some interesting things that the guys that definitely only do the street stocks will for sure not be used to.
Well, and I'm assuming here with a little bit more horsepower, more torque coming through those rear wheels, we can expect to see this track slick up a lot faster than we're used to. Does it make it easier or harder to drive on a slick track in these late models?
It all depends on how the car's set up and the driver preference. You're correct with the power. Even though we're in the pro late models, even though the track's slicked off up along the top, we're still able to pull 12-second lap times, where the street stocks would be dropped off probably a second by now. And at any point throughout the track, you can smash on the throttle and you can light up those tires. So rubber's going to go down a little quicker, and as you said, the higher speeds makes it to where those bumps and curves and all those different driving styles and symptoms that you're going to experience in the street stocks happen twice as fast.
That's going to make things very, very interesting. And I guess for you out there as a driver, what is your strategy here for tonight? You going to try to push ahead? You going to try to play it back a little more cautious? What are you feeling?
To not pull William Hargraves and let him get the championship, I'm going to stay off the wall. That's my big plan for tonight.
I think that's a pretty solid plan to stick to, Brandon. Thanks so much for joining us here in the booth, and good luck out on the track.
Thanks, fellas.
All right, that was Brandon Proudfoot, one of the drivers out there today, currently 12th overall. Very surprising to see him down in the field. And Austin, interesting there to hear about the differences in these cars compared to the street stocks, not only in that downforce, but the very suspension and makeup of these cars themselves.
That's right, DJ. iRacing is so particular about how it engineers its cars when they put them on the server. So I'm not really surprised that whatever these cars would deal with in real life, we'll have to deal with in the simulator. But it's a stark difference compared to what we're used to driving in the dirt street stock. He talked about how the rear axle kind of moves around a bit more like a monster truck, and you can see that on John Hines' car right here. Look, he goes into the corner. You can see that separation from the left rear of his car, and the right rear is all the way up by that body. But the cars don't do that all the time. They're just set up to do that while you're turning in the middle of the corners. So, I'm not too surprised that it's that stark of a difference, because that's how they're engineered. But it's going to be a very large handful for these guys to remain in control of throughout the entire event.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And if you do like, by the way, this dirt action that you're going to see here today, make sure to join us on Friday nights here on the Virtual Grip Network at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time for Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series. It's always a fun night of great dirt action, hosted by myself, our commentator here in the booth, Austin Belke, and occasionally John Hine as well. Check the schedule for the great series broadcast at virtualgrip.net. And for more information about the BRL, head on over to BootlegRacingLeague.com. Plenty of great different types of racing that we feature here on the channel, and dirt obviously being one of our favorites. But about 30 seconds to go here in practice before we send out the virtual water trucks, reset this track, get ready to go. Looks like we're going to have an entry list of 22 cars, so 4 drivers gonna be having to make the long walk down pit lane here today.
Yeah, glad you mentioned the water trucks there, DJ. You mentioned that Brandon Proudfoot, one of the fastest people on dirt here in the league, currently only 12th fastest on the timing sheets, and it's really no surprise to see a bunch of weird different names up there in terms of the timing charts, because as the track gets slicker and slicker, it starts to get slower and slower. You can see all that rubber there being put down on the track, and in a couple of seconds, you're going to see it snap. All the water trucks, virtual water trucks, go out there, and they basically set this track state back to 0%. Basically, completely clean track. You're going to see that right there. It gets instantly clear. No more marbles on the track. Very tacky, super fast.
It's super fast, and that means it's time to go qualifying here and to see who is going to be the fastest of them all. Proudfoot, Wilson, Ulf, and Robinson looking to be a couple of the drivers headed out of the pits here earliest on, just like as we normally do a 5-minute session here. 4 laps to be able to get done around I-55, and so it'll be interesting to see what the strategy is. We've often seen from guys like Hargraves and Northcutt that they will go out, set a lap or two, and then come back down pit lane, but immediately we've got times being put Proudfoot down on the board. Proudfoot was at the top. Now it's going to be John Hine, followed by Neville Ulf. Proudfoot, Robinson, and Snyder rounding out your top 5. John Wilson in 6th. Mark Snyder in 7th. Proudfoot puts in a better time, though, to go up to P2, but Hine maintains the top of the position.
Yeah, don't sleep on Steven Spies either. He's extremely fast in these cars, well versed in them. He had the fastest Sector 2 time out of anyone. If you're curious what the colored bars at the bottom of the screen mean, purple means fastest sector time overall. Of course, turns 1 and 2, Sector 1, turns 3 and 4, Sector 2. Yellow means not a driver's personal best, also not the fastest. Green means driver's personal best, but however, still not the fastest in the session. Looking for purple bars here for the fastest laps. You see Kenny Kibbe out there with a personal best lap.
Yeah, Kenny trying to drive that car around here. That's going to get him 8th place position. Spies up into 3rd. J-Mo, Justin Morton going to be 5th place right now as Billy Northcutt jumps his way up into P4. Hargraves only good enough for 8th place, but he's still got a couple of laps still to go. Jason Dill's going to bump into 18th right now, waiting for times from J.R. Shepard and Jason Menda. Big jump at the top of the charts, though. That's going to be Thomas Vickers setting the fastest lap.
Yeah, look at Chris Davis. 7 car goes up to P7 on the board. Justin Morton made a temporary pause there. Looks like he's all done with his qualifying. He's going to stay out there to get some more practice. This is the only opportunity these guys have to be the only car out there on the track in between practice and the race. You see the 09 machine out there of Jason Dill. He's trying to see if he can put down a better lap.
Yeah, see what he can do. Hargraves able to improve by about 1 position up into 7th. We also have J.R. Shepard out on the track right now, so we'll have to see what the 98 Different Path Motorsports driver can be able to do. Vickers going purple there through Sector 1. Shepard good enough for P5. That'll be a good run there for him. The 98 doing a good job of working his way around. He just set a personal best there through the first sector. Not able to get as well through turns 3 and 4, though. Still continues to work this around as we've got time ticking down here about halfway through the qualifying session, waiting for drivers like Hargraves and Northcutt maybe to see if they're going to try to set another time down, but I'm looking on the boards right now, and Shepard appears to be the only driver with laps still to give. Let's see what JR has got in the tank. He's going to cross over the line. Not going to be good enough. He'll stay in 5th.
Yeah, he keeps putting down those yellow sector times, so he's not doing better than his personal best times. It looks like he's out of laps now, so he's going to pull back down on pit road. Seems like for right now, everybody's done. I see Billy Northcutt out there. He might have another lap or 2 to put down. This is Justin Morton in the 9 machine. He's already completed his laps. He's just getting more practice.
Yes, he is. He's going to just keep working that around here as we see the 00 of Billy Northcutt also getting a little bit of that practice done here. Just feeling out a little bit of what this track can do. And you know as well as I do here, Austin, that feeling that track out, feeling how good it is, that is absolutely crucial. You really need to feel this track, not only your car, but the track state as well.
Yeah, that's completely right, DJ. You go out there, you need to have confidence that the car is going to stick, and of course that's down to the car setup, and the track state. If either one of those things isn't perfectly right, you're not going to set yourself up well enough to put down a blazing fast lap like we've seen Thomas Vickers do. So it really just depends on that seat of the pants feel of the driver.
Yeah, that seat of the pants feel is very important for these drivers to do, and it looks like with about a minute left, the only driver out on track still is going to be Justin Morton. J-Mo used to be a staple here in the series. We used to see him quite often, but as I understand it, some real-world commitments as well as some other leagues pulling him away, and it is great to see the number 9 coming back into the series. Absolutely love it. I've had the pleasure of covering Justin on a multitude of races, and he is, I will make an argument, one of the best all-around racers on iRacing. Can take to dirt, ovals, asphalt, anything you throw his way. J-Mo's always ready for it.
Yeah, even road courses. I've had the pleasure to race against Justin in all forms of motorsport, and he's just a great guy. He's a great driver. He's super funny, too. He's very shy, kind of quiet, but, boy, if you can get him to open up, he's pretty hilarious.
Yes, he is, but he's only got about 5 more seconds to keep practicing in that TDR number 9 right now as the checkered flag flies for qualifying, and we head off to the heat races. Now, just a reminder that these will be 6 laps, and the top 2 will automatically advance, everybody else having to go back to the consolation races. Lining up in pole position here for the first heat race of the night, it will be Thomas Vickers. Steven Spies started to his outside. J-Mo, Justin Morton will be P3, followed by Neville Ulf. There, the Australian driver. Kenny Kibbe will be P5, followed by Matt Hoos. Then Joe Segala and Mark Snyder round out your grid.
DJ, I'm going to be really interested to see which lane Thomas picks here. I feel like he's going to want to pick the bottom. I feel like that's where everybody was running in qualifying. I see no surprise for him to start on the inside, but I'm interested to see if he wants to start running the top almost immediately here.
Yes, indeed. So there they go, working their way out. And as you mentioned, leader does get lane choice here, and that can be absolutely crucial, especially when this track starts to slick in a little bit. That is going to be a big, big thing to keep an eye on of just where these leaders want to position their cars. 2 laps of pacing around this bull ring circuit before we get ready to go racing. It looks like Spies is keeping it nice and tight next to Vickers. Doesn't want to give him any breathing room at all.
Yeah, Spies is super experienced in these dirt cars. I've had the pleasure to call some other different dirt leagues here on the Virtual Group Network, and Steven has more often than not been some of the stars in those leagues, really racing up front in any car you put him in on dirt.
Yeah, always seems to do well as here they come through turns 3 and 4. iRacing pace truck scampering down pit lane and getting on the loud pedal is Thomas Vickers. There goes the green, and he works his way along. Spies throwing a bit of a slide job there to try to keep things going. Single file for the top 3, but a battle going on between Ulf and Kibbe behind.
Yeah, look at Justin Morton. He's the first car out of this entire pack. It's a breakaway for the first 2 drivers to see all these guys sling their cars into turns 1 and 2. Looking at Kenny Kibbe, he's the first one to try and make a move, trying to get to the inside here of Neville Ulf. It looks like, though, we have a battle for the 6th position on track. I think that's Joe Snyder and Matt Hoos.
Yes, it was, as Ulf got a little bit squirrely there off the corner, trying to see what he was able to do, but that battle going on back in the back of the line right now. We focus on Justin Morton trying to run down Steven Spies up ahead. A little bit of contact there in the back as well, and just as quick as you please, we're already working on lap 3 around this track.
Yeah, these cars are blazing around this track. Thomas Vickers last time by, I mean, he's in the 11-second bracket here. These cars are flying. You look at Kenny Kibbe here, trying to see if he can get around Neville Ulf. Neville is not as good getting out of the corner, but Kenny's really good getting into the corner. So it's kind of just a match of which driver is going to, pick up on the strength of themselves and then really just try to eke out a margin for where the other driver is weakest.
And that's not going to matter for too much longer, because coming across the finish line is Thomas Vickers, taking victory here in the heat race. My goodness, putting down an absolutely commanding pace, and he and Steven Spies will be the 2 drivers automatically advancing on into the A main here tonight. Everybody else in their finishing order: Justin Morton, Neville Ulf, Kenny Kibbe, Matt Hoos, Joe Segala, and Mark Snyder having to go back into the consolation races. But that's going to move us right on into heat race number 2 here tonight. This will be the second of 3 heat races it looks like we have in order. Going to be John Hines starting off in pole position, followed by J.R. Shepard, William Hargraves in 3rd, with Robbie Robinson in 4th. The Fistful of Water driver John Wilson will be 5th, followed by Jason Dill, and Michael Smith will round out your 7-car grid.
DJ, it looks like John Hines starting on pole from the outside line. That forces J.R. Shepard down to the inside. Everyone else behind this front row, if you qualified in an odd number position, you start on the inside. You qualified in an even number position, you start on the outside. So only that front row is affected by which lane the driver would like to restart in.
Well, and I wonder here if this could actually be a little bit of a boon to J.R. Shepard. We know he's a little bit of a bottom feeder, likes to run on that low side, so that certainly could help him be able to keep his way ahead. But we will have to see, because not a lot of time left here until the green flag flies at I-55 Speedway here. Federated Auto Parts, as there goes the pace car diving down into pit lane. Hine gets on the loud pedal. Big twitch there from J.R. Shepard as the green flag flies. Behind them, Robbie Robinson trying to work around the outside of William Hargraves. Hargraves and Robinson going to make a little bit of contact. Big sideways motion for the 56, and that's going to lose him 1, 2, almost 3 positions.
Yeah, not to mention that's going to take a lot of downforce off the rear end of Robbie's car. We're riding on board here with William Hargraves. He's got the best seat in the house for this battle between J.R. Shepard and John Hines. DJ, this is for the lead.
Yes, it is. Hargraves working his way around, running a little bit lower here that we ride on board with, and you can see just how blind you kind of are when you're coming through these corners. But Shepard working down on the low side, trying to see if there's anything to be had as they cross over the timing and scoring line here to get the halfway to go mark. Shepard not letting up in his attack on the number 71 whatsoever.
Yeah, J.R. Shepard's a lot better going into and through the middle of the corner, but because he has to go down to the inside, he's got to put a lot more wheel input to the car. That makes it extremely easy to spin those rear tires, so he just loses that drive up off the corner, allows Hine to stay clear. White flag.
White flag in the air. Hine going to be able to keep his way up ahead a little bit later into the corner there, almost getting caught up into the gray, but he's able to keep it together, keep ahead of J.R. Shepard. Hargraves trying to challenge down to the inside, but it's not going to matter because Hine will take victory here in heat race number 2. Shepard coming home behind him to automatically advance. A good race there for the both of them. Let's run you through that final finishing order as well, as it was Hine and Shepard advancing. Hargraves not able to get that move up forward. Robbie Robinson came home in 4th despite that incident there early on. Good recovery there for the 56. John Wilson came home 5th, followed by Michael Smith, and Jason Dill will round out your field. And now it's time for our third and final heat race here tonight from I-55 Speedway. And lining up in pole position, it is a name that is famous in song and in story, Brandon Proudfoot. Up at the front of the field right now, he is going to be flanked by Billy Northcutt with Mr. Aggressive Chris Davis and Jeffrey Harden behind them. Joseph Snyder's going to line up P5, followed by Jason Menda, and Michael Menes rounds out your 7-car grid.
Just as John Hine did in the second heat, Brandon Proudfoot chooses the outside line, forces old Billy Northcutt in the 0 car down to the bottom.
All right, Hargraves certainly knows what he is doing there as they get their way through the corners right now, trying to see what they will be able to do as they go for this final run here around this final heat race as they work. It is going to be Hargraves up to the high lane right now. The 0-0 there of Billy Northcutt going to be to his inside, waiting for Proudgraves to get Proudfoot rather to get on the loud pedal, and there he goes, but Northcutt not letting him get away too easy there. Well, look at that. Chris Davis in the white number 7 trying to see if he's going to be able to get a little bit of emotion, but it looks like Jeffrey Harden trying to challenge around the outside, but up front, that is going to be Proudfoot pulling away. A little bit of a concertina further back for 3rd in the field.
Yeah, that's why you saw Jeffrey Harden fall further through the field. Right now he's sitting in the 4th position. Oh, Menda gets real loose in turns 1 and 2.
Very loose, and that finds him drop all the way down in the order there. It looked like he was going to be able to charge ahead, but not so much. We ride on board with the loose lugs driver, the number 36 of Jeffrey Harden, as he works his way through. A little bit of a challenge there on Chris Davis to Billy Northcutt, trying to see if he's going to be able to get anything halfway done here in the 3rd heat race.
Yeah, whoa, Chris Davis makes a little bit of contact. I think that was net code stuff there with the 7-car Chris Davis. The 0-car Billy Northcutt looked like Chris Davis just kind of barely cracked the throttle and let Billy get what position he already had.
Yes, he does, as we work on 2 to go here as they come off the line. Going to be single file there, although Davis taking a little bit of a peek down to the inside. Proudfoot crosses over the start-finish line, though, right now to be able to take the white flag, as here they come down the last couple of corners here, waiting to see if Chris Davis is going to be able to send a monster move down to the inside of Northcutt. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, and Proudfoot takes the victory over Billy Northcutt.
Yeah, Chris Davis trying to get down there. He'll finish in 3rd, followed by Jeffrey Hart in 4th, Jason Menda 5th, Michael Menes in 6th, and Joseph Snyder in 7th.
Ooh, a great spate of heat racing here tonight. I have got to tell you, there is that final finishing order. Proudfoot and Northcutt automatically advancing. Everybody else having to go back to the consies, which start now. And in this is going to be very crucial. The top 6 will advance on, so you want to be in the top 6 here. Starting off in the pole position here for this first consolation race will be Justin Morton, followed by Chris Davis. Then it's going to be Robbie Robinson and Kenny Kibbe in row 2. Jason Menda and Michael Smith will be 5th and 6th, followed by Segala and Joseph Snyder in 8th. And Austin here, the pressure is on, especially if you're starting in the back of this pack. If you are Segala or Snyder, you know you have got to be making racing moves.
Yeah, that all-Joe rear row has really got to be on it from the drop of the green flag. Unfortunately for them, they've only got 8 laps to try and make up at least 1 to 2 position, and that's all while making sure that the driver, you don't get past it all. You have to finish in the top 6 to advance. Otherwise, you're packing up your stuff and going home.
Indeed you are, and just as a reminder here that cautions are turned off during the heat races or the consolation events. So these LCQs will not have cautions. If you get caught out in something, that is ostensibly your day done and dusted, and that can really affect your mentality when you're going into a race.
Justin Morton chooses to start on the high line. He'll leave Chris Davis to the inside. I think Kenny Kibbe's in a pretty good spot here, being able to start in 4th position. He'll be on the high side. I think the high side is where you want to be right now, DJ.
Yeah, that's what we've seen here pretty much from all these drivers. It's just going to be interesting when it slicks up and how that'll happen. But right now, the iRacing pace truck goes into pit lane, waiting for J-Mo to get on the loud pedal, and there he goes with a big twitch. Chris Davis didn't look like he exactly got the best start, and Kenny Kibbe's already going to start to challenge him on the outside. But contact there between the two is going to throw Kibbe out into the wall. He's going to lose at least one position, as that's going to be Robbie Robinson challenging down on the low line.
Yeah, Kenny Kibbe's just, I mean, people keep driving straight into the corner. I don't think Kenny's really expecting that. I think Chris Davis basically went in there and kind of just door slammed Kenny, forced him up the track. Kenny's dropped 3 positions, it looks like maybe 2. Yeah, just 1 right now, but boy, if he loses any more, he's going to be in real jeopardy of losing the opportunity to race in the feature.
And keeping our eyes focused there on Joseph Snyder, currently in that coveted 6th place right now. Joe Segala looking like a DNF here on the day, so that is going to be only 1 spot that's not going to make it on.
Oh, Robbie Robinson goes around.
Yeah, that was Robinson around. I believe contact there with Michael Smith, and it looks like Robbie Robinson is taken back into pit lane. Let's watch this replay here. Robinson just goes into the corner. That's coming out of turn 4. Tries to get it now into 1 and 2. Dives it down. Did he just catch something? That car looked like it spun around.
It might have been Joe, maybe Segala's car it thought was down there. I don't know. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It just completely flipped itself around.
Yeah, really no explanation for it, but
Kenny Kibbe around the outside of Menda?
Making moves! Kenny Kibbe chucking it around the outside, put a piece of paper in between himself and Menda, and he is up ahead into 3rd as we work on the penultimate lap here at I-55. Kenny Kibbe getting himself into 3rd place here. That is a great run for the number 14. But up front, it is J-Mo, Justin Morton, who is going to be coming to the line out of turn 4 to take victory in the C-Main.
Man, Kenny Kibbe was seeing red there. He's going to finish in 3rd. Chris Davis 2nd. Jason Menda finishes in 4th, followed by Joe Snyder in 5th. Michael Smith finishes in 6th. The 2 drivers that unfortunately have to pack it up and go home. 56, Robbie Robinson, and 81 car, Joe Segala.
And we're not sure exactly what happened there to Segala. It looks like he was a DNS, actually, did not start. So we'll have to kind of figure out exactly what went wrong there with him. But nevertheless, we get ourselves ready to check out that final finishing order. Morton, Davis, Kibbe, Menda, Snyder, and Smith all going to the big dance. They will be on into the A-Main. But we've got one more race before we get into that, and that's going to be the B-Main here tonight. William Hargraves starts off in pole position with the Australian of Neville Olf to his outside. Jeffrey Harden will be 3, followed by John Wilson in 4th. Then it's Matt Hoos and Michael Mayes in 6th. Jason Dill and Mark Snyder, they're going to be starting off in the danger positions.
Oh, look at Neville Olf getting a little bit sideways there. Maybe he's trying to warm up those rear tires. We'll have to see if that works out for him at all. See the rest of the field starting to get lined up. It looks like Hargraves is going to choose the outside. No surprise there, DJ.
No, not at all. That is the same thing that we've seen time and time again here from these drivers. They like that outside lane, and that was where Kibbe was able to make that amazing pass around the outside of Jason Menda on that last run. So I certainly think that he is going to be in good standing there. But here they come onto the back stretch right now. Pace truck pulling off down pit lane, waiting for Hargraves to get going here. He's going to hold the field for a moment, hold it a little longer, and there he goes. Olf caught a little bit napping. It looks like John Wilson may be able to have a little bit of a challenge, but Wilson contact into the wall.
Yeah, same thing that happened to Kenny Kibbe, but a little bit worse. There is absolute carnage behind him. The 58 of Matt Hoos is down there on the inside wall. Hopefully they're not all there when the leaders come back around.
Hopefully not. Mark Snyder looks like he is a DNF, as is Matt Hoos. Those could be the 2 drivers that don't make it on. Well, right now, we continue to watch, working their way around. Neville Olf trying to get the game back in on William Hargraves here as they run. John Wilson has been able to recover and keep going on. We currently watch the number 32 there of Michael Mayes. Talk me through what happened here, though, because this was a little bit of a strange situation, Austin.
Honestly, DJ, I'm a bit lost for words here. They head down into the corner. Oh, yeah, Matt Hoos just gets barely hit there by the 09 car. In terms of John Wilson, I think Neville just went straight into the corner. John expected him to stay a little bit lower, and they just got together. Same thing that happened to Kenny Kibbe in the previous main, but it worked out a lot worse for John Wilson.
Yeah, it certainly did. Wilson a little bit saved by the bell, though, in the fact that he still runs in 6th place, and that will be a transfer spot, but he will be starting tail end Charlie on the field once we get to the 50-lap feature, so that could be a little bit of a problem there for him. We do focus, though, on Neville Alf, the Australia driver, working his way around Australian driver there. Let me use English correctly. As Jason Dill, though, trying to gain in a little bit on Michael Mendes as the white flag flies here at I-55. William Hargraves, only one more lap of this circuit. Mendes trying to dive down to the inside there, though, seeing if he can get anything on Harden. But coming to the checkered flag is your victor of the B-Main, William Hargraves.
Neville All finishes in 2nd, followed by Jeffrey Harden in 3rd. Michael Meades finishes 4th, followed by Jason Dill in 5th. John Wilson finishes in 6th. The two drivers that unfortunately do not advance into the main event, Mark Snyder and Matt Hoos.
All right, Austin, that means we've got our full field ready to go here for tonight's event, and now it's time to turn everything over to a 5-minute warm-up session for the drivers to get acquainted here with this short track. And if you like short track racing, make sure to check out the Saturday night short track action with the VGN's coverage of the Bootleg Racing League Super Late Model Series. Join us at 9 p.m. Eastern every week as the BRL gang races asphalt short tracks all across America. Hosts Bill Soup Zahn and John Hine will bring you flag-to-flag coverage and put a smile on your face at the same time. Check out their schedule for the Great Series broadcast at virtualgrip.net, and for more information about BRL, go ahead and visit bootlegracingleague.com. And now I think we've got a chance here to talk to a sometimes commentator, oftentimes driver, John Hine. John, first and foremost, how you feeling after the heat races?
Oh, not too bad. It's good to be back on the track with these guys and at my hometown track, no less. This track is about 45 minutes from my house.
Well, there you go. Little hometown advantage maybe playing out for you here. Well, let's talk a little bit as you're out right now on track. Let's talk about track state. How is she feeling? What's looking fast? What's looking to be a little bit sketchy?
Well, I think the top's going to be the fast way around, but it's going to be fast and sketchy. It's going to be real difficult to be up here up top, and there's a little bit of tack there now, but before this night's out, we're going to be right up on this wall, and that's going to be the quick way around. You may see the bottom come in. I got a feeling I'm scheduled to be on the outside front row, but I'm going to bet the pole sitter is going to take the top, and I'm going to have the first few laps on the bottom and pray I don't get freight trained and I can get back up without losing too many spots here. But I would say look about halfway through the race, probably let's say between, I don't know, probably about 15 laps in, you'll see some guys migrate to the bottom.
All right, and talk to me here about your strategy for the race. Starting where you are, try not to get freight trained. Are you going to be in full attack mode from the beginning, or is this going to be a little bit of a hold back, let me just see what happens and let the good racing gods come to favor me?
I don't know. How many laps is this? Can you tell me that?
It's 50 laps, or 40
laps.
Excuse me, 40 laps. 40 laps.
Man, I'll hammer down, or we'll go for it. Last time I was here, did a 100-lap feature, and that's more of a pace yourself, but no, 40, yeah, I'll be hammered down.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. John, thank you so much, and good luck out there.
Yeah, thanks, DJ. You guys have fun up here.
We will indeed. That was John Hine in Austin. It looks like you've been able to catch up with another one of our drivers, Mr. Steven Spees, joining us from the track.
Yeah, I just got done talking to the professor. We'll talk to one of his good friends, good friend of the Virtual Grip Network, and myself, Steven Spees. Steven, you were absolutely ripping out there in the 55 machine, second on the timesheets here in warm-up. What's changed on the track? How's it feeling?
It's getting slick, but that's okay. I don't mind that at all. Looks like we got a little bit of a berm up here still to work with on the top for a while. I'm hoping that kind of burns off early and we can kind of run a couple of lanes top and bottom and have a good show.
Steven, usually you call yourself a bottom feeder, especially on dirt. That's just where you're most comfortable. Later in the race, do you ever see the bottom coming back in to be stronger than the top, or are we just going to be happy to see maybe a track that works really well up high and down low?
Hopefully that bottom will come in. I just hope that we're not up here, follow the leader, bounce around the top. Like you said, that's not my style. It's not where I feel most comfortable. So I'm really hoping that this bottom comes in and we can kind of get some work done around there. But ultimately, like I said, maybe we can get a top, bottom, even maybe a middle if it slicks off enough. And like I said, just put on a good show.
Boy, a middle would be awesome. Steven, right now, just opinion question. Do you think it's going to take a slide job to pass anybody on track?
Usually it's going to, yeah. Once we all kind of find the fast lane, then you're going to have to see what you can do to get a little bit of a run off one corner and throw it in there and dive under and kind of cross your fingers. This one can be a tough one to do a slide job at, especially as thin as that 2 and 4 are getting right now up at the top. So you're going to have to be careful.
Sounds good. Steven, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Best of luck in the race, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
That was Steven. He's love talking to him all the time, DJ.
Oh, I do too. He's one of my favorite drivers to be able to watch out on the track, and he's currently P2 in warm-up, but that's near as no mind. This warm-up has been checkered flag, and we are ready to go racing for a 40-lap feature event at Federated Auto Parts Speedway at I-55. Lining up in pole position, it's going to be Thomas Vickers, followed by John Hine, with Brandon Proudfoot and Steven Spees starting off 3rd and 4th. J.R. Shepard will be to the inside of row 3, followed by Billy Northcutt, with J-Mo, Justin Morton in 7th, and William Hargraves in 8th. Chris Davis, Mr. Aggressive, lines up 9th, and Neville Ulf rounds out your top 10, Austin.
Yeah, Kenny Kimmy's going to roll off in 11th place, followed by Jeffrey Harden, who starts at 12th. Jason Menda lines up in 13th, followed by Michael Manise, who starts in 15th. 14th. Joseph Snyder lines up in 15th, followed by Jason Dill, who rolls off in 16th. Rounding out the field, Michael Smith and John Wilson in the 75 car.
40 laps around I-55. Cautions are enabled, and on a what is already, you heard it there from Spees and from Hine, a pretty slick track to begin with. Hopefully that middle line will form up, but we won't have too long to wait to watch. About a lap and a half here of caution. Austin, who do you have your eye on? Who's your pick?
I'm going with John Hine, the professor. I'm calling it.
All right, I'm going to say here, stick within the camp a little bit, but I'm going to go with Steven Spees here. I think he's going to be able to get that bottom lane to work up a little bit. We could see some real fun. Let it be known, I think this is the first time in the history of the Bootleg Racing League's coverage here on VGN that no one has picked Brandon Proudfoot, which is a statement. Is Brandon
yes, it is. Record.
Yeah, exactly. But we get ready to go racing. Vickers starting off to the inside here, and there goes the green. We are racing at I-55, and talk about a jump there for Thomas Vickers. Call it 3-4 car lengths. Proudfoot trying to work down on the low side. That's going to be Hargraves working up high, but it looks like Proudfoot's got a little bit of the jump on him, and J.R. Shepard going to be following him there behind.
Yeah, J.R. Shepard, Brandon Proudfoot really making the bottom work. Whoa, we've got a caution already. Car at the bottom of the track. Oh, William Hargraves is in it.
Oh my goodness, caught up and taken around. Let's see what happens here. This is Hargraves running around. Not entirely sure what went down here. Hargraves tries to dive down to the inside there of J-Mo, and Chris Davis gets right into the back of him.
Yeah, Mr. Aggressive. That's not really Chris Davis's fault. He's always really aggressive, but you just can't see through these cars, DJ. They have a giant rear wing. Visibility is already super limited in these. This is us looking at what sent Jason Menda around. This, of course, is the initial start. You can see just barely make some contact there with the driver of the number 32 car. That was Michael Menas. So they go into the corner, sends Menda around. He's stopped at the bottom of the track, facing the wrong direction, and then Hargraves goes in there. You saw, he was probably smiling ear to ear. He got that run down the front stretch, looking to make his way down to the inside on Jeffrey Harden, I think it was, maybe Billy Northcutt, and he just got down to the bottom, tried to check up to avoid Jason Menda. Chris Davis doesn't see him, sends him around.
Yeah, sends him right around. So that's going to be our first caution of the day. Thankfully, caution laps here are pretty quick around I-55. Not that long of a track to have to circulate around, and it's going to be Vickers leading us to the green once again. Hine going to be to his outside as all eyes go to the iRacing pace truck to pull off down pit lane. Getting ready to go back racing here as Vickers gets on the loud pedal early. Again, a little bit of a delayed start there from John Hine, but he's going to stick to the high lane there. Proudfoot looks like he loses some line there in the middle of the wall. Yeah, Billy Northcutt catching a little bit of the wall, but he's going to continue on, and we're going to stay green.
Yeah, now it's a two-car battle. Now that John Hine has cleared himself from Brandon Proudfoot on the inside, this opens up some opportunities for Hine. He can try the inside to get around Thomas Vickers if he so chooses. Now look at Steven Spies. He's trying to look to the inside of Brandon Proudfoot, leaving J.R. Shepard. He's got the entire track width.
Yes, he does, and a big check up there for Steven Spies as he almost got into the side there of the 22 and had to check his momentum. Now I've got to wonder here if Shepard's going to be able to try anything down on the low side. This is a little bit of an interesting battle right now as Spies and Shepard, both renowned as bottom feeders, but being forced to run the high line around here.
Yeah, DJ, you can want to run the bottom all you want, but if all the grip's up high, you pretty much have to run up there. We've got our second caution out on track, and DJ, I don't think we mentioned caution laps don't count in the feature event either.
No, they don't, and this looks like to be the result of it. Neville Olf coming into the corner. You can see that car getting very, very sideways.
Look at Chris Davis on the bottom.
Yep, sending a big old slider. Does Olf try to catch it? I can't tell if that was contact there from behind with the number 0 machine. Now, that would be Billy Northcutt, I believe.
Can't be nowhere to go.
And same with John Wilson. Everybody seemingly involved in that incident on lap 7.
These guys do have one fast repair if they need to use it. I feel like half the field might be thinking about these cars. With their aero dependency, you're kind of going to want to get that damage repaired. However, we're 6 laps into a 40-lap affair. I don't know if you necessarily want to take your fast repair quite yet.
Yeah, you want to kind of have that fallback.
You have to leave it in the bank.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, Austin. You want to have that in the bank. It gives you a little bit of a sense of security, frankly, when you run. But we've got to focus back on Thomas Vickers again because the driver who has led since the drop of the green flag is about to take the green flag once again. The number 2 starts on the outside. Hine gets a much better start, but that's not going to be enough because Proudfoot's coming off like lightning down to the inside.
Yeah, Proudfoot thought about throwing a slider. John Hine almost got flanked on the top and the bottom by Proudfoot and Spies. Hine's going to hold on up top. We'll see what Proudfoot can do on the bottom.
Proudfoot making a middle line work here.
Oh, watch out for Neville Wolf on the top.
Looking for a little bit there. That is Olf. That is a car that is a left
contact between Hine and Proudfoot.
And contact with Spies. Are they going to keep it together? J-Mo up into the wall, but keeps it going straight. My goodness, I don't know how we stayed green during that.
Yeah, somehow Shepard got around Spies. Yep, there's the caution. These guys are going to have to be real careful here.
They're going to have to be very careful indeed, as that was a sketchy moment. Yeah, there you can see Northcutt, J-Mo trying to avoid everything, and that appears to be the 09.
There goes Kenny. Oh, man, he was just, gosh, you hate to see it for Kenny. He's really fast. He just can't seem to avoid these wrecks.
Well, when you're coming in at this rate of speed here, Austin, it can be so incredibly challenging to not only get the car slowed, but to get the car to change direction whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just really difficult. I mean, these cars are so hard to handle, so when you have to check up or do anything to avoid a wreck, you're going to be hard-pressed to actually get it done. Speaking of getting it done, though, Brandon Proudfoot gets it done, puts the 22 car up into the number 2 position.
Proudfoot doing what Proudfoot does best and moving his way up through the field now. We've seen him be able to run that middle to low lane here. He's really the only one that I've seen drive it to some efficacy. Let's see how he can handle here now to the inside of Thomas Vickers as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here. Coming into turn 3, the pace truck will pull off down pit lane, and we will get back to racing a quarter of the way through the race on lap 10. Long waits there as it looks like we've got one more lap of caution. Excuse me there. They formed up and got me by a little bit by surprise.
Yeah, at the last second, Lil Jewel added another pace lap to the caution just to allow the field to go ahead and pack itself up the right way, DJ.
Good call there from race control for Lowell Jewell. This is very, very tough here for everybody to keep themselves clean. But let's see as now Vickers gets on the loud pedal, trying to go there. Proudfoot going to slot his way up into the Hine line. It looks like Hine is going to be going down low. Almost contact there with his teammate of Steven Spies. But up front, it is Proudfoot and Vickers running away from the field. J.R. Shepard trying to make that high line work.
Yeah, Shepard's doing a really good job. He's got William Hargraves just behind him. It's a battle of the 71 cars. You got Hine on the bottom, Hargraves up top. This is a battle for the 4th position.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we get another yellow here getting thrown very shortly. Chris Davis and John Wilson able to get themselves pointed back in the right direction, so we're going to stay green.
Oh, contact between Hine and Hargraves.
That was a big thunk there from Hargraves. I think he saw a little bit of an opening, and it just wasn't there. But there, the yellow does fly now, and this is more Wilson, who is just having a rough night out there. I mentioned that he had gotten himself turned around a little bit earlier. Oh, and this is what we saw. This is what I actually saw earlier with Wilson and the number 7 of Davis getting turned sideways, and I guess that was just a little bit of a delayed yellow here from the organizers.
Yeah, I think the problem was John Wilson didn't get his car turned around fast enough. These cars, I mean, it's hard to whip them around and do a quick 180 on the track, especially when you're just, parallel to the direction you should be.
Yeah, very, very much so. And, we often talk about how hard it is to slow down the big, heavy dirt street stocks that we're used to seeing here on the Virtual Grip Network. And it is just as difficult, it seems, today to be able to do the same here in the super late models. But if you're liking the coverage that you see on VGN, come join us for the PGRL Premier League every Tuesday night at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch some pretty good racing with your host, our very own Austin Belke, J.R. Shepard, and Kenny Kibbe. It's the Pretty Good Racing League's premier series featuring the NASCAR next-gen cars on the real-life NASCAR schedule with no chase format, no stage racing, no gimmicks, just straight-up racing. But we've got racing here as Shepard with a great start down to the inside, trying to make that lower lane work. We get a little bit of a fan out, though, as Vickers continues to run the high lane. Maybe a little bit of contact there with the outside wall. John Hine trying to make things work up high, and here comes William Hargraves trying to work it as well. J.R. Shepard working a middle lane here on lap 14.
Yeah, J.R. Shepard really impressed me there on the restart here. He was able to remain in third position, but now John Hines going to use the top side to get around J.R. Just vice versa as to what happened on the last restart. J.R. just didn't get up to the top fast enough. He's still trying to make the bottom work like Brendan Proudfoot, but unfortunately for J.R., he's just not quite doing what the driver of the 22 is.
No, just not really able to get it going there. As we look back through the field, you can see everybody starting to filter themselves around. I think that was Spees and Jason Dill going a little bit side by side. Spees actually getting a little bit of contact with the high side wall as Shepard now working his way up on the high line, but maybe a little bit of contact there with the 71 of William Hargraves as Hargraves trying to charge his way up through the field. Remember, didn't have the best qualifying.
Yeah, J.R. Shepard finally decides he's just going to run the top for a little bit longer. I think that's where all the speed is on the racetrack. So even though J.R. doesn't like to, he chooses to run the top. You see William Hargraves trying to see what the bottom has. Again, bottom just hasn't quite come in yet.
No, we've really only seen Brandon Proudfoot kind of be able to make that bottom lane work here, as now we've got a little bit of side-by-side. Hargraves trying to make that low lane work, but the momentum going to be favoring J.R. Shepard here up to the outside, diving down into the corner. That is Hargraves' teammate, Billy Northcutt behind him. And look at that. That is going to be Shepard getting a little bit sideways, and I think that's going to give Hargraves a little bit of an advantage. Is he going to throw the slider? Yes, he is. Hargraves up into P4.
Yeah, now Billy Northcutt is challenging J.R. Shepard to his inside. J.R.'s got to be real careful here. He's got Steven Spees just behind him, too.
Yes, he does, and Spees getting some good momentum off of the high lane. We ride on board here with the Gambler Motorsports number 55 machine as he tries to work that car around the outside. Vickers and Proudfoot continue to lead at the front of the field right now. Here goes Spees trying to split the difference in between the two cars, running a little bit close to J.R. Shepard. That's going to be very, very close running there. That's Jason Dill there trying to get their way around, and Dill holds the inside line. That's going to check up Steven Spees.
Yeah, Jason Dill shot 3 wide. He goes all the way to the front of this little pack here. Now Justin Morton is on their tail. He's now looking at the inside of Steven Spees. Justin Morton had that awful start here, getting involved in a couple different wrecks.
Yes, he did, and now he's trying to push his way forward, able to get by Spees. Is he going to be able to get by Shepard as well as he dives down into the corner? The number 9 looking very, very feisty here as they cross over through turn 3, coming down into 3 and 4 right now. Ooh, loses a little bit of speed there, does Justin Morton, and now Spees is going to be back into the equation.
Yeah, if Spees can find a way to get down to the bottom and not lose too many positions trying to get down there, I think he can try to pull away like Northcutt has. We've seen Northcutt, I mean, he was in this battle. He has pulled away about a second or two clear of this grouping just by running the bottom. So I'd look for Steven Spees to get his butt down there as fast as possible.
I would look at that as well, but Justin Morton currently hugging that low line and not able to work it. Spees makes contact with the outside wall, and that is going to mean that Justin Morton's going to gain a little bit of an advantage here. We keep our eyes fixed on this battle as it is very, very close, keeping another eye out of the corner of mine on the battle for the lead. Proudfoot not really able to make up a lot of room on Vickers. We'll let you know if that updates, but right now JMO still trying to go on that low line, hugging it around the corner there, but momentum still favoring Steven Spees. This the battle for P8.
Oh, DJ, there's a really good battle here going on for the third position. Again, another battle of the 71 cars. John Hine up top, William Hargraves on the bottom. Fantastic camera positioning from director Mike Yao. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, good stuff there, and a little bit of contact maybe with the outside wall for John Hine, but that's going to give him a nose ahead. Hargraves diving down into the corner, and we've got a yellow with 10 laps left to go.
We're going to have to see how these guys line up. Usually here on BRL on Friday nights, once you have a caution inside 10 laps to go, we restart single file. However, certain things can change, and sometimes, there can be bugs. As you can see, the cause for caution there. J-Mo and Steven Spees getting into it.
And that is such a heartbreak because that was such an excellent battle over the course of the entire race, and it looked like there the J-Mo tried to throw a little bit of a slider, and Steven Spees just not necessarily able to close it down in time, so that is going to pull him back, and it does look like that this is going to be a single file restart. Maybe not. I believe my information's telling me this is single file, but the way these drivers are driving it may be double file.
Yeah, well, sometimes these guys do forget it's single file. Everywhere else in BRL, we don't have too many restarts inside 10 to go. Yeah, it looks like they're all being told to restart single file here. So it's good, though, for the drivers. It's not as good for the fans because we don't have that two-wide action right off the bat. But, boy, if you're going to start on the inside on a top-dominant track, you're not too mad about this.
No, you are not, and it's really going to put some impetus here on these drivers to try to get themselves on by. Vickers going to no doubt hold on to that top lane. Lights on the iRacing pace truck do appear to be off as it heads down pit lane for what we hope is the final time, and Vickers gets on the loud pedal.
John Hine stacks him up. The wrecking behind Billy Northcutt goes around.
No, my goodness, just as quick as you please. We've already got another yellow here. I take full responsibility for that on the commentator's curse. You saw this, Austin. Talk us through what happened.
John Hine is up top. As soon as he sees the green fly, he steers down the track. Billy Northcutt sees the same thing, but John Hine doesn't expect him to be there, so Billy tries to stay off him, tries to arc the car down more, and the driver behind him just couldn't react in time, sends Billy around.
Oh, and that is so terrible there for Billy Northcutt, having a solid top 10 run here today. He is going to be in pit lane taking his spare car right now, and so that means we will get restarted here, I believe, with 8 laps to go is what I am reading, if this is to be believed. So if you're Proudfoot, if you're Hargraves, that's even less time for you to try to get by the dominant Thomas Vickers.
Yeah, when we go back racing, we'll be on lap 33, so 8 laps to go, 8 chances, 16 maybe, if you're Brandon Proudfoot, to try and get your way down to the inside, or maybe you can fake out Thomas Vickers. Maybe he makes a mistake, but boy, these first 3 drivers have been pretty mistake-free tonight.
Yeah, they really, really have, and let's see if that continues here as Vickers gets on the loud stuff, and he's going to bring the field. That's a little bit of separation there between himself and Proudfoot and Hargraves as they start on lap 33, although Proudfoot looked like he carried a little bit more speed off of the exit of turn 2. Now it's going to be Vickers running that middle lane.
Yeah, it's all Thomas Vickers right now. He has about a half a second gap back to Brandon Proudfoot. Proudfoot now chooses to run a different line. The only way you're going to pass somebody or catch him by running a different line than they are.
Well, it's like our colleague Kenny Kibbe always likes to say, in order to get past on a dirt track, you got to run where they ain't. And that's exactly what Proudfoot is trying to do right now. We do focus on the 09 here right now of Jason Dill, trying to hold off a little bit of an attack from the aforementioned Kenny Kibbe.
Yeah, Kenny's been really fast all night tonight. He's involved in a lot of wrecks early on, so one can only wonder where Kenny would be right now if he wasn't involved in all those.
Yeah, I got to imagine he'd be up a little farther in the field, but here is that number 21 machine of John Hine trying to hold off a little bit of an attack from J.R. Shepard. Shepard doing what he does best and going on the low line.
Yeah, 4 laps to go, 3.5 as you take it. You got a bunch of different battles all over the track. Mr. Aggressive trying to hold off Steven Spees. Steven tries to poke his nose to the outside. Up front, it's all Thomas Vickers. He has a half the second lead over Proudfoot. There's another battle on track currently for 4th.
Yeah, and this is between William Hargraves and John Hine right now. Excuse me, this is John Hine and J.R. Shepard as they work their way through 2 laps to go. Shepard trying to work that low line, but Hine looks like he's got everything hooked up, working on the high side. Almost contact there between the 2, but able to make it work very, very easily. White flag, though. White flag in the air for Thomas Vickers as Shepard sends the car down in low, trying to get that grip on the midline. Doesn't look like that's going to play out, and as he comes around, but here comes Thomas Vickers. He's going to come to the start-finish line and take victory in the 2nd annual Senneker Steels Shootout.
Man, Proudfoot gave it all he had, just comes up a little bit short here tonight, DJ. And man, both our drivers didn't end up winning. And for the first time, we didn't pick Proudfoot, finishes in second. He's got to be gutted to finish there. He really loves these cars in this track, definitely one of the favorites. But boy, Thomas Vickers, flag to flag, led every lap.
Yeah, the Richard Murtaugh Racing driver there, as you can see on your screen, able to take victory over Proudfoot and Hargraves. We'll be talking to that podium here in just a few moments' time. John Hine able to come home in P4, followed by J.R. Shepard, Jason Dill, and Kenny Kibbe back in 7th. Steven Spies, a little bit of a yo-yo race there for the 55. He'll finish in 8th place, followed by John Wilson and Chris Davis in 10th place, the last driver on the lead lap.
Joseph Snyder crosses the line in 11th, followed by Jeffrey Harden in 12th. Neville All finishes in 13th. Billy Northcutt involved in a horrendous rack down at the last 10 laps to go. He decides to park it, finishes 9 laps down. Justin Morton, absolute heartbreak. He definitely had top 5 speed, finishes in 15th, followed by Michael Smith in 16th. Michael Maniz in 17th. Jason Menda rounds out your 18-car field.
Absolutely fantastic racing out here tonight, and we want to take this opportunity to make the official announcement that we have teased a little bit and talked about a little bit earlier, but we are going to be introducing a new series here on the Virtual Grip Network. That's right, it is going to be the Bootleg Racing League's National Sprint Car Trail. It will be at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday nights. Join me and Chris Davis for full coverage of this, frankly, unique series. We're going to be mimicking the old USAC Triple Crown Sprint Car Trail with dirt midgets, dirt sprint cars, asphalt sprinters, and the Silver Crowns as we tour the back roads of America and visit some of the most famous short tracks that iRacing has to offer. I am very, very excited to be able to bring this to you folks. This is what I grew up on, going to Kokomo, going to IRP, all of those places across the Midwest. So please, please, please join us at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on those Friday nights. But enough about the future. Let's talk about the present, and let's go ahead and bring in our victor, Thomas Vickers. Thomas, a dominant run out there for you. Brandon gave you a little bit of a hassle, but it looked like you and that high lane was just a match made in heaven.
Yeah, that high side was rolling pretty well. I knew it was going to go away towards the end. I stuck with it and found the midsection to work in 3 and 4 pretty good, so I stuck with that, hoping trying to keep him behind me.
I mean, how much were you driving in your rearview mirrors there? How much were you just focused on the road ahead of you? Having a driver like Brandon Proudfoot that anytime there's just the merest of mistake, he's going to be able to pounce on you.
You just got to stay focused on what's ahead. Don't really worry about what's behind you. You'll start missing marks and stuff like that. I mean, you'll glance at it every now and again, but it's just all about focus on what's ahead of you.
Well, you clearly did just that, and a massive, massive congratulations to be able to take the win. What's in store next for you? Are we going to see you on a couple of things here on VGN, or where else can people be seeing you racing?
I'll probably continue racing at street stocks, even though I'm nowhere near as good as I am in the late models as I am in them. But I'll probably continue running.
Well, I look forward to being able to call you there on Friday nights with that, Thomas. But as for tonight, a victory here in the second annual Senneker Steel Shootout, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank my buddies that helped me, and spotted me and stuff like that.
Right, well, that is your victor, Thomas Vickers. Thomas, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
All right, Thomas Vickers taking victory there. And now I believe, Austin, you've caught up with P2 and driver of the 22, Brandon Proudfoot.
Hey, Brandon, it's not very often I get a chance to talk to you at the end of one of these races when DJ's here with me. You definitely threw everything you had at the wall tonight to try to run him down. You're the first guy to go down to the bottom. You're the first guy to make it work, but that top line was just a little bit too fast.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off saying happy belated birthday there, twin. But yeah, that top side was, I think, definitely was the place to be throughout most of the night. For the street stocks, it went back down to the middle. I tried to play the log game and conserve the right rear tire as long as I can. There towards the end, I think I was starting to get more and more even with Thomas, but I just ran out of time.
Brandon, you talk about running at a time. Originally, this was going to be a 50-lap race. If we had about 10 more laps, you reckon the top line would have gotten just slow enough where you could have gone up there and passed him?
I definitely think it would have been definitely almost bare bones equal there towards the end. While it is 40 laps tonight instead of 50, this track is one of the smaller on the service, so realistically, I believe this is rated as a quarter mile. So if you're running compared to Knoxville, it's an equivalent to a 20-lapper at Knoxville, which whenever the Outlaws were doing 40 laps on those. So this is kind of like a sprint race. There isn't a lot of time to think, not a lot of time to react too much. Lowell was even, I think his old age was catching up to him. He was a little late throwing the cautions. He admitted to it in the voice, but Tom ran a really, really good line up top, and I played the long game trying to wait for that middle to come back, and I was able to maintain a P2 with it, but it just wasn't quite enough tonight.
For sure, Brandon. Congratulations on the P2 finish, but who do you have to thank for coming home in this spot, man?
General Tire, Rigid, Next Level Racing, personal sponsors on the real life car, Crafted, Jim Beaver Esports, Regates Racing Engines, Steve Gates. Then the thanks Lo and all the guys that host the league, you guys here at Virtual Grip Network for doing the broadcast, Ryan Senneker for doing the shootout for this race. It's nice to get back into some different vehicles with the same group of guys. There's a few extra, but it's nice to just kind of have that break once a year to where we all collectively race something else somewhere else. And we have the qualifier race here in an X amount of time. You guys have that info. And that's for the Steel River Shootout, I think.
Steel River, yep.
We have the qualifying race here later tonight for that, and then we'll be back here on the Virtual Grip Network in the Boot Racing League for that race tomorrow. I'm going to see about dwelling in the qualifier and see where I end up with that. But thanks, fiance, friends, and family that root me on. And P2 tonight is good enough for me. Have a good one, fellas.
Thank you, Brandon. You too. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. DJ, I think you've caught up with P3, William Hargraves.
I have indeed, William. A P3 out there for you on the day. You kind of had to fight for it a little bit.
Yeah, to say the least. We didn't get very good qualifying in. I don't run these a whole lot, so that was to be expected, but definitely had my work cut out for us, and then caught a bad break early on in the race, and that pushed us back even farther. So to even be able to get up here was pretty good, I guess.
Well, talk to me a little bit about sort of that mentality, getting caught out early on and having to fight your way back forward. Were you in full aggression mode there, or were you just kind of picking things off one by one?
At that point, it was basically just try to go wherever there was an opening or there wasn't another car. Try to pick them off one at a time, and a few cautions there definitely helped us out. And then was able to get past John there towards the end of the race, and then one more caution come out there and stacked us back up. And Vickers and Proudfoot, them guys, they were a lot better than me. I had nothing for them, but it was a lot of fun to try to chase them down.
Well, it certainly did look like a lot of fun here. And talk to me about sort of the differences in driving this car as compared to the street stock that we're always used to seeing you in. How difficult is it to really master a new dirt form like this?
It's not easy, that's for sure. It's really, really easy to spin the tires, and it's really easy to continue to do it, and finding that grip is tough. But if you can manage it, you can definitely build some speed up quick, and staying in a groove is huge. And if you get out of it, it's it's hard to get back into a groove in these cars. At least for me, it is. Street stock's a lot easier for whatever reason, less power and more grip, I guess. But they're a lot of fun. I need more practice in them, and I should probably start running them more.
Well, I hope you do. I loved seeing you out here on these. I love any kind of dirt car. You know that. But you know the drill. Anybody you'd like to thank for a third place here today?
I just got to thank Luell and everybody for putting this league on for us to race weekly, and you guys, Virtual Grip Network, for broadcasting all the time. You guys do a heck of a job. I got to thank all my Dirt Panda racing teammates, Malum Electric, Motorsales.com, Viv's Retail Liquor, Wild Bill's Race Designs, and just everybody that supports it and watches weekly, and yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, William, and congratulations on a third place.
Thanks, guys, and congrats to Vickers on the win, and good run there, Brandon, for second.
Right, that was William Hargraves, your third place finisher here today. And folks, that's about going to wrap things up for us here on the Virtual Grip Network, but make sure to join us next Friday as the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series gets started for another season. It's September 23rd from Lanier National Speedway. That'll be live at 7:10 p.m. And you also heard Mr. Brandon Proudfoot talk about it a little bit more. The next broadcast we will have on the channel will be the 7th Annual Stone River Shootout, which will be tomorrow, September 17th from Hickory Speedway at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. This has been a production of the Virtual Grip Network, and on behalf of myself, Austin Belkey, and Mike Yao, it has been a pleasure to bring you the racing action here today. And until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.